Like everyone watching this video, I have a weird obsession with watching all types of anime. And with that obsession of mine, I can come across some very good anime, some very mid anime, and some straight up garbage. And the garbage is what I want to talk about today. There's bad anime, and then there's really bad anime. Yes, X-Arm, that was specifically about you. Now you can go back to the corner. And if any of these series that I'm about to talk about are your favorite, that's not a bad thing. I'm not gonna judge you for liking 7 Deadly Sins Season 4. Actually, yes I will. No, I'm just joking. This video is for entertainment purposes only. Don't take anything I say too seriously. Before continuing with the video, I would just like to mention that only 1.2% of my viewers are actually subscribed to the channel. So if you would just consider subscribing, I would really appreciate that. And with that being said, cue the intro.
How you move? Backstage at the show with some mad freaks on the road. Please don't call my phone. You know
and let's start off controversial because this was once a very popular anime, and to be honest, I don't know why. If you're a fan of Danganronpa in the big 2024, you have no excuse. You're either stuck in 2020 or you're 10 years old. There's no in between. And if you're part of that 2020 category, you know exactly who you are. You really watched this, and you enjoyed watching it too. But let's talk about the actual show now and the reason why I didn't like it and I thought it was bad. First off, the show is extremely confusing in the beginning of it and you're kind of just thrown into it. So confusing in fact that I needed to look it up and make sure I wasn't skipping over anything. So I look up on Google, what is going on with this show? And the first thing that pops up on the search bar is, well actually, you have to play the game to understand. I am not playing a video game to understand the background of a 12 episode show. Let me get this straight. You want me to put time, money, and effort into a show that's only 12 episodes long? Nah. And I'll be the first one to say, I am not doing all of that. So I go into this show missing basic context and hope I just start understanding. But none of that matters anyway. Who needs plot when you have a robot teddy bear as a principal? The next thing that ruined the show for me were the death scenes. Don't get me wrong, they could be cool and creative at times. But all of that goes down the drain once you see that the blood is pink instead of red. It made it look like their body was covered in Pepto-Bismol, and it just ruined any serious tone that the scene would have. And rip to the first girl who died, Mizuno or Mizuno, I don't know. She got no screen time and she also died in the second episode. But she was trying to manipulate the MC, so pack watch. You are not slick, buddy. And now that we're on that topic, we can talk about the rest of the characters in the show now, because they're kind of interesting in an extremely stereotypical anime way. There's the super buff chick, the super smart girl, the dark and mysterious dude. Without the sun, there is no light. What did you say? I said, the moon is only brightest at night. What? What the fuck does that even mean? The clueless MC, the whatever that is, the whatever he is, and the jock, so on and so on. And we've all seen these stereotypes separately in their own shows, but having them all mashed into one show is kind of laughable. And to top it off, we have a robot bear named Momokuma who has the worst dub voice possible.
Be honest now. You were expecting something considerably less tasteful.
Screwed up either way if you ask me.
And even though Momokuma's annoying, he is entertaining. That man, slash bear, whatever, is a D1 instigator. As soon as he sees the students working together and using teamwork, he'll always say some shit to shift the energy, and it's the funniest thing, bro. Another thing I don't really like about the show is it has that early 2010s cringe to it. Like, it's not really bad, but it just gets really corny at times. For all the corny stuff in Danganronpa, I will say that court style round table, that thing was hard, I'm not gonna lie. If you have beef with someone, hey, just take it out at the round table. They could have avoided all of this by, wait, not killing anyone. Alright y'all, I know the story is more complex than that, but if you don't punt that teddy bear in a locker and call it a day, what are you doing? But no, they just have to kill each other for the dumbest reasons. Like this little dude right here, he just wanted to be stronger. He didn't want to look like a girl anymore. But his biggest mistake possible was just asking for some advice. He got packed up for asking the wrong dude for some help. He just had to go to the one dude with anger issues and an inferiority complex. And then look what they did to him. They done turned bro into a laptop. And of course, this thing had to develop a crush on him. The main character of the show is the most basic copy and paste character of all time. He even looks like your average shonen MC, and he acts like it too. The only slightly funny character besides Momokuma is Toko Fugawa, and it's specifically in her serial killer form.
Guess that's my cue to tag in, ain't it, bitches?
She doesn't have a filter in that mode, and she doesn't talk with that average anime character voice. None of that arigato stuff is going on. It's just regular human dialogue. The next thing I want to talk about is the show has some very messed up but funny plot points. Like, for every student that dies, another part of the school is unlocked. That's basically DLC content, but instead of having to pay for it, you have to kill someone to unlock it. And to be honest, me explaining the show, it honestly doesn't sound that bad. But when you have to watch 12 episodes and like 3 hours of content, not knowing basically any background of anything, the show becomes trash. And no character has any depth to them. Like, I get it's part of the story, but come on now. Like, give us something at least. Ranking Ranking Danganronpa on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm gonna have to rank it a solid 5.5 because it does get kind of interesting at times. And I'm definitely contradicting myself right now, but on to the next anime. Up next is Rising of the Shield Hero, specifically everything after season 1, because everyone can agree that season 1 was a banger, and season 2 had the potential to be just as good. Season 2 had way more hype than season 1 when it was first coming out. 6 months before the show was even out, it had like 1 million pre-saves, which is insane. It was the most anticipated show on the website for the longest, but after the first episode came out, that hype did not last long at all. I have not heard one person say, yo, you watched that new episode of Rising of the Shield Hero season 2? No one's saying that because the show is ass. And look at this dude's Crunchyroll review. He called the show the new Promised Neverland, and he's not lying. Both shows had a goated first season, but they just couldn't keep it up. No one wants to see the main character fight a huge, slow turtle for 6 episodes. But that's not even the worst part. If they would have animated it at least decently well, then I would have let it slide. But that is CGI. There's only one rule in anime. Do not have bad CGI in your show. Another example of bad CGI in anime is Kaido from One Piece in Dragon form. And the fans didn't even let that slide, and that's One Piece, basically the biggest anime in the world right now. The second season of Rising of the Shield Hero has a lot of potential, but it also has a lot to prove, so they have no room to mess it up. So putting bad CGI in the second season is basically the worst possible decision they could have made. Once I saw that big, slow turtle, I knew it was raps. Pack it up. And your main villain that was controlling that huge turtle was just your average evil scientist. So he was doing all that evil in the name of science, yada yada. We've heard this 1,000 times. The main problem with season 2 is that it was just bad. I'll probably end up watching season 3, but that doesn't mean that the series isn't cooked. I unfortunately see no bright future for the show, but that's just how it happens sometimes. You know you did something bad when your ranking on my anime list is a 6.53. Ranking Rising of the Shield Hero on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm gonna have to rank it like a solid 3.5, and it's honestly just that bad. There's like 6 episodes of nothing going on, and there's another 6 episodes of just trash writing. The show can't be saved. I'm glad to be done talking about the show. Let's move on to our next anime. And the last show I'm going to talk about today is going to be In Another World with My Smartphone.
Hi.
And yes, the show is as bad as it sounds. Let me paint you a picture of how it started real quick. God accidentally kills the MC with a lightning bolt, then decides to have a cup of tea with him. And God was like, my fault gang, I didn't mean to kill you. I can't send you back to your world, but what I can do is reincarnate you in another world and you can bring one thing with you. And Toya the MC pulls out his ancient relic of a phone and is like,
I'll take this.
this show makes the other shows I just talked about look like award winners, bro. This show's title, well actually the show in general was just way ahead of its time. It came out all the way back in 2017, but now you have shows every year coming out with names like that. Just a few examples of that are The Time I Got Reincarnated as a Sword and My Life as Inaku's Dog. And that anime right there is a whole nother video in itself, but I don't know if I have the willpower to watch that show start to finish. But back to In Another World with my iPhone. I first watched that show back in like 2021. At that time I had an obsession with isekais. Everyone goes through that phase. Don't tell me otherwise, but I remember specifically looking at the title and thinking, I cannot watch this. But did I listen to myself though? Nah. You know I had to watch it anyway. After God finishes talking to Toya, he spawns him into another world, and it's your average fantasy isekai world. You have magic and dragons and stuff, and it can't be an isekai without the MC trying to build a harem. The only original thing about the show is of course Toya using his phone. What makes the show so bad though is it has like zero substance. You can watch it start to end and not know what's going on. Rewatching the show for the video made me realize I did not finish the show. I definitely put it on and then just fell asleep. I made it tops 5 episodes in, and I'm being generous with that. It's not even funny either. Besides God popping in every now and then, there's zero humor. There's barely any plot, and the background characters are just not memorable at all. What did Bruce say? Name 5 DDG songs?
Gun to the back of your head, name 5 DDG songs.
Nah, name 5 side characters from this anime. You can't, so don't even try. While doing some research on this anime, I came across this Reddit forum, and this dude's comment perfectly sums up the show. He said it's quite possibly the most painfully generic show he's ever seen, and I 100% agree. Ranking In Another World with my smartphone on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm gonna have to rank it a solid 2.5, and that's being as generous as I can. And that's all I have to say about the show. Thank God I'm done talking about that anime. I was about to pull out my hair. But yeah, that's 3 anime that I thought were horrible, and I watched them so you don't have to. And hey, maybe you were interested in one of the shows I talked about. I wouldn't know why, but that's a good thing I guess. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate a like and follow. It took me a crazy long time to edit this. I have a lot of ideas for the future and I don't plan on stopping anytime soon, so wouldn't it be cool to be one of the OGs? Hey, I'm just saying. But yeah, that's the end of my app session. Key out.
I got crack on my side. Yeah, crack. And I ride with the cooler. Killer don't fuck on the side. Yeah, fuck this Medusa. Came with the stick. Yeah, the cutter would do. Yeah, this bitch can't fully. Yeah, shoot at your buddy.